Good morning and welcome to Breakfast Extra. Today, I want to speak about something so ordinary yet so powerful. Something that shapes how nations respond to crisis, how families stay united, how workplaces function, and how trust is built or broken. That thing is communication. Communication isn't just talking. It is clear, honest, timely, and empathetic exchange of information. And when it breaks down, the consequences can be enormous. Take what happened in southern Kaduna. Reports emerged of scores of worshippers abducted from multiple churches. Local leaders said over 160 people, men, women, and children, were taken during Sunday service in an attack that sent shockwaves through the community. But in the early days, official voices denied that any abduction had occurred. Eyewitness accounts were questioned. Evidence was demanded. Later, that position changed and information emerged confirming the incident. In the meantime, families and entire communities were left confused and anxious. To make matters even more disturbing, reports surfaced that the kidnappers were demanding the return of motorcycles allegedly taken or lost before they would release the captives, a demand that did not fit the narrative many expected and only fueled further uncertainty and speculation. Imagine being a relative in that situation, hearing one message that says nothing happened and another that says your loved ones are in danger. That gap, that silence, that contradiction doesn't just create anxiety, it deepens trauma. Now shift focus briefly to the international stage. Nigerians learned about major military action on Nigerian soil, not first from their own authorities, but from a foreign leader's social media post. In late December, U.S. President Donald Trump announced the U.S. forces had conducted strikes in northwest Nigeria against militant groups. For many Nigerians, that announcement, amplified by global media, was the first time they heard about it. It immediately raised questions. Who should speak first? Who should inform citizens? And how should information that affects national sovereignty be communicated? Now place all of that beside what's happening globally. This year at Davos, the World Economic Forum brought together leaders from government, business, civil society, and academia under the theme, A Spirit of Dialogue. The focus wasn't just economics, technology, or security, it was communication itself, dialogue, cooperation, rebuilding trust, and confronting a fragmented world. Why does that theme matter? Whether they're talking about global leaders or local communities, good communication is the foundation of trust. In a complex and contested world, dialogue is not optional, it is essential. And here's the lesson. Not everything needs to be recorded, broadcast, or sensationalized, but right information must be shared responsibly and promptly. So what's the common trend between global leaders calling for dialogue at Davos, the confusion surrounding the Kaduna abduction, and in a workplace environment? The answer is simple. Communication matters everywhere. Communication builds trust. When leaders respond quickly and truthfully, they inspire confidence. When they delay, deny, or obscure facts, they undermine it. When people are not informed, they ask questions, not because they want trouble, but because they want clarity, accountability, and partnership in decisions that affect their lives. That is not defiance. That is civic engagement. That is ownership. That is hope in action. Now, the good news, as always, across Nigeria and across the world, including conversations happening at Davos, there is growing recognition that trust has to be earned, not assumed. Leaders are beginning to talk more seriously about responsible communication, better information flow, meaningful dialogue. And that is where our hope lies, not in a perfect system, not in flawless motives, but in the simple fact that people still care enough to ask questions, seek truth, demand clarity, and choose conversation over silence. Because when a government, a company, a family, or community communicates clearly and honestly, we all win. Communication is the bridge between confusion and understanding, between fear and confidence, between isolation and unity. So let us commit in our homes, in our workplaces, and in our communities to communicate better, to listen more, to speak with purpose, and to build the trust that moves us forward. Thank you for listening, and good morning again. And of course, and with Mazino Appeal. Good morning, Mazino.
It's the end part for me. And of course, hi, Queen.
Am I communicating properly?
You are communicating properly, and I enjoyed that piece in communication. In fact, especially as you referred to Davos and the fact that communication is what's supposed to bind all world leaders together. But we see that breaking down now with the Trump speech and the Carney speech. When you get here, I want to tell you something about what I think about all of this. But fantastic monologue.
Awesome. See you in a bit.